full moon is happening not just in the sky, but it's happening within you and within me, right? Like events like these, we talk about the full moon and we talk about its potency and what it does. And it's all happening within you. It's not just an external event, but it's happening inside you, inside me, inside everyone else as well. And it's time for us to acknowledge the power that is within us. And the moment that you tap into who you are and you own yourself, everything that you are, everything you like, everything you don't like about yourself, right? Even those things that you don't like to look at. There are people who can support you in that, right? You can support people with your strength. And giving and receiving are both going together. Like we cannot only give or only receive. It's not happening that way. So let's take some time, close our eyes, connect to our heart, and let's set the intention together to have the full moon help us collectively within this group and for the collective, for humanity, to take what is within our heart that wants to be expressed, that wants to be heard, that wants to be seen, to come to the surface and be expressed fully and freely. Let's take the intention to love ourselves and create a world that is peaceful, that is supportive, that is based on purity. The purity of your soul, of your true essence, of the love of the Creator that is within you and that is outside of you, that is everywhere, right? Allow the God within you, allow God's energy within you to embrace, to be lived freely and joyfully. Let's go.
Thank you so much. And we're ready to begin. And we are so pleased you're here. And we say that to you every time. But now, today, you will understand why. Because we wanted you to understand your purpose, your life purpose. And your life purpose was to prosper and thrive. And we have given you everything that you need to accomplish that. We've given you everything that you need to manifest this magnificent life and also create your world. And that's what we've spoken of all this time that we've been coming to you. As we began our conversations with you many years ago, we said that what we wanted to do was to help you move through your fear and doubt, because that's what you each carry when you come to the earth plane and you have your paths to live, but you came at a different time. You exist at a time on your world, which we have called your restructuring, but it is the greatest shift your planet has ever experienced, and you each have something to contribute to it. But when you don't do that, then you don't thrive and you don't prosper. And so we are encouraging you today on this blue moon, the super moon, which is so powerful. And we had to do it today because it's Aquarius. You see, it's Aquarian full moon. And this is what we have given all of you to come together to create the world that you want to have. But that can only happen when you decide to do it within yourself. Now, you each have something to bring to the world that's meant to cause you to live the lives you could have and to thrive. And our messenger has been diligent for the last 35 years of bringing in this information to create a philosophy, to bring in a new philosophy called your life operating instructions. And the more of you who use it, you will decide, you will become the people you are meant to become. You will heal, you will prosper, you will become fun, you will love yourself. And that's what we have given you. Now, nothing is accidental. Nothing happens accidentally in your life or in your world. And we've gone to extreme lengths, as we always do before these talks. And this past week, we had our messenger explain it to you because we had him create many videos. And if you look at any of them, you'll see that. But if you read our messages leading up till today, you would understand it as well. There's an alignment in the universe because it's all energy. You are all energy. You come into the world and you just direct that energy in different ways. But it's based on your individual life path, it's based on your evolutionary journey. You all come into the world a little broken, as we might say. And because you have paths, you're eternal spiritual beings. You may not remember that, but you've had these lifetimes that you've lived, and you didn't have all the great things in those other lifetimes. And so you come into the world now to move through them. And as you do, you start to thrive and you start to heal and you change your past. You change everything that had happened before, everything that came in that was of a lower vibrational energy. You have the opportunity now to up-level that through your work, through what you do and who you become. And that's what we have said. There's no hierarchy of souls. You've just each accepted something over time, over centuries, over generations, where you maybe thought you didn't have everything else or you thought you were more than others. None of those things are accurate. You're all equal souls, and we've just given you a way to start to actualize that, because the more of you do who decide to do that, then you will live these wonderful lives, but you'll also have the world that you want. Now, as we've said, we've done so many things this week, and we want to explain it to you because we've given our messenger so much information because we wanted him to move as well. We told him that we wanted him to change and to finish this work, and he hadn't done that yet. And we keep speaking of it. And we even had him post just the other day a video that we did 2 years ago on the 18th of August, just so you could see the synchronicity there. But we put it there, and you hear in there where he knew that he had all of this, but he had one problem. He didn't want to have everybody coming to him. He didn't want to have every answering anyone's question. But we told him you can no longer do that. And we want you to figure out a way that you get this work to more people because it can change your planet. And this is what we're saying. Now, we've already set this up. Nothing isn't accidental, as we said. We're going to have him speak to the world on the 19th of October. And we've already given him a message about that, because that again is this restructuring of your world, which we've called a planetary ascension. But that can only occur when each of you decides to accept your purpose. And your purpose is brilliant. It doesn't matter what you have moved through in your life. And as Yarna so lovingly said in the beginning, that it's all of your actions, all of your experiences are valuable. We want you to get rid of the judgment that you've had about yourselves and about others, because that's the period that you're moving through. Now, we have said that the United States would lead the way in this restructuring, and none of this is accidental, because there is movement happening this day and the rest of this week, actually, that is going to demonstrate all of that, because you're all making choices about where you want your lives to go, which conversely will be where you want your world to go. So if you decide that you're going to let go of all the old stuff and love yourself, then you're going to have this great life and you'll create this great world. If you're going to hang on to your anger and your bitterness and your judgment and your racism and your misogyny, then you're not going to do that. This is the work that we have given you. We've said that this particular shift in your world was to bring in something new, and that newness is of accepting more of you, meaning all people, because you're all the same souls, but you've just over centuries made separation, and you've made it in different ways. Our work takes you beyond all of that. We've given you something that is not reliant on your religions, because your religions have created separation because you had rules. We wanted you to break the rules, and we've given you messages about that, because when you break the rules, you expand. Now, we also did another little thing. We had our messenger this morning see something from Einstein, because we've used everyone in our work, because when you use great minds to create something, you have greater ability to thrive and to evolve, and that's what we've given him. And so he saw Einstein as a child discussing what does this real? What comes on? And he was questioning everything. And through that questioning, he came to understand there is no darkness. There's just an absence of light, and you each have that within you. And so when you decide that you're going to let go of your darkness, you do that by adding the light. And the light is coming to a higher state of consciousness, a higher state of awareness, where you see that you're all the same, where you see that you're all one, and that everyone should be equal, and you should all prosper. And the more of you who do that, you create a much better world. That's what we're giving you. We want to clear up something else. Our messenger did an interview some time ago, and he was a little upset. So we're going to take care of that for him, because in this interview, they a thumbnail where they gave a prediction. They thought he said, we did not give him a prediction. We gave you energy. They said that they made a prediction about the United States election. We didn't say that. We said it was about energy. We're not, you all have free will. We never get involved in your free will. We just tell you what could happen because of the energies that are present on your planet and in the universe. Now, but we know what that was all the time. So we gave it to you years ago. The reason that we have put our messages in ways over years, because we wanted you to understand that you evolve individually in your consciousness over linear time. We don't do that. We can give you everything right now, which is why our messenger can always answer your questions and give you anything that's there. And he also knows that he has written everything. And we said that in that message that we gave you 2 years ago. He has everything. It is an encyclopedia of personal development, self-actualization, and ascension tools that if any of you would use them, you would live these great lives and you would heal. And we showed you the results because we were giving you being who's 73 years in his chronological age, and he's healed everything that he went through. He's gone through every imaginable human condition and difficulty and challenge that any of you could have. And we gave him the information to change his brain, to change his mind, to take him to a higher level. And the result of that, he comes out to being this happy person. He comes out to being this person who is evolved, who is enlightened. And that's what we have given all of you. The only thing we can't do is cause you to take it, but we have to cause him to move because he's done something, what many of you do. Now, he's known that he's had all of this, but then accepting who he was the challenge. And so then he holds himself back, and then financially, he doesn't have the abundance. We're talking about energy here. Because when you start to appreciate who you are, you have all the abundance, and that's the work we've given you. Now, he's done all the other things because he's healed everything physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, except he didn't allow the abundance to come in because he's trying to help all of you. And that is, we've written about it, and you'll see that in the messages that we've given you this week, and you'll hear it in that other recording, because he has this thing where he feels he's always got to help everyone, and then he leaves himself out. Many of you have done that, especially those of you who have been in the helping communities or the spiritual communities. And you also have this thing about money. Now, we want to talk about that. Money is energy. Abundance is energy. That's all that it is. And you're all supposed to have lots of it. You're supposed to have tons of it if you keep moving into the acceptance of your innate being and your innate worth. There's no one born less than another. You just have these evolutionary paths that you must follow that allow you to expand, but you have to move through the barriers. Now, many of you do not want to look at your barriers. This is the work that we've given you, and we put something out just recently speaking about that, the mirror. We had him do a video about that because you don't want to look at yourselves. And we're saying that if you were to look at yourselves, you would find all this beauty and worth and value in there. But you become afraid because you've been taught to fear the unknown, which is why our work coming through was a little challenging for even our being, and especially for those around him and his family and everyone else, because they didn't understand what he was doing. Because you're all supposed to be unique. You come in to bring something new. And when you bring it in and you love it, you prosper and you thrive. And that's how you serve your particular purpose. Every single one of you has one, and you come together at different times on your time trajectory on your planet to cause that to happen. Now, you're not going to all do the same things. We don't expect you all to do what our messenger has done. He's sacrificed his entire life, and we're telling him, no, please stop that now. This is what we want for all of you, and we're using him as the example because he will let himself go so far down financially because then he has to move. Many of you do that. You become afraid, and then that's why you start to move when something comes up. But we're talking about your world as well, because you're looking at the conditions, and we've told you about this as well. We told you a couple of years ago that if you were to change your energy, something different would happen, even in your wars in Ukraine and Russia and all of that. And now you're seeing what we talked about a long time ago. We said, think about the David and Goliath story. And you're seeing that play out right now. We're saying this because when you go back and listen to our recordings, there's nothing that's occurring in your world currently that we did not tell you. We just know that you can't hear us all the time. And this is why we had him put out a message earlier saying you couldn't hear him before. That's what happens because he receives information precognitively. He knows exactly what's happening in your world. We've given it all to him. But him accepting it was also a challenge, as it has been a challenge for you to accept what you have. But we don't want you to judge yourself. We would just rather have you move. And that is about joy. That is about happiness. And we're giving you a being who's been through every tragedy, every difficulty, every horrible dark night of the soul that any of you can imagine. And we've given him the tools to move beyond it. And so when you do that, when you let go of the stress and the anger and all of those things, then your bodies start to change. This is why he can look the way that he does now, but you all can do that. It is a possibility, but you just have these barriers that you put up against yourself. And this is why we've talked about cognitive dissonance so much, because we wanted you to understand it. Because we have said for the last several years that we've given you everything to live this great life. And many of you keep looking at us and don't do anything. You don't act. And then you keep scrolling. That's what we love to say. You keep scrolling for the next thing that's going to fix your life. And we're saying we've given it all to you. But now we're going to do the other thing, which we told our messenger. We said this 2 years ago, and he knew this as well. It wasn't going to really work unless he was charging $5,000 for it. So we'll get him to that place, but we need him to finish it all so he can charge the $5,000. And that's what we've instructed him to do. But if you listen to the last recording, we told him 2 years ago as well. And so now he's finally doing it. And we're saying this for all of you because you've done the same thing. And we know this because if more of you had come into the higher state of acceptance of who you are, your world would look quite different today. But we still have time. That's what we're saying to you. You have time now because the rest of this year is going to be the biggest opportunity for all of you to live these great lives and then to manifest this wonderful world, the new earth, as many of you have thought of it, but we've given you the tools. That's the difference. And when you're asked about what our work is, and we want this to be the explanation, so anyone who is coming to him on social media or whatever it might be, we want you to understand what he has brought into this world is a new philosophy, and anyone who uses it will live a great life. There is no other explanation than that, and we know that it's true because we've proven it. And we're so pleased because there's certain people who have come into our program recently who are starting to understand that, and they're giving our being much more belief in himself because now he's seeing the results. Even though we've given him the results many years ago, we're saying that because you've each done that. You've seen results in your life, but it takes you a while to accept it and to integrate it. But that is the process of human evolution. And so you're doing it now in a grander way because this is a planetary ascension. It's always that, but this is just a different period in your world. Now, we have given you everything, as we've said, and we even had our messenger share something from the grand conjunction that happened on December 21st of 2020. We just reminded him today, and we put that out there, and he shared it on social media earlier today. We had him do that because we want you all to find it, because we'd given you that earlier. And so we said, now you'll hear it and you'll understand it. But in that, it was 4 years ago. We want you to understand that in December. But what happened was he knew all of this, but it took a while for him to accept it, just as it does you. That is the path that you each take. Because we're not limited by your linear time, we can give you things in a different way, but we just need you to understand, but we can't force you to believe it. And so we have to move up the energy because there are going to be changes that are coming up, especially this week, and especially in the United States. And so we want you to love yourself a lot more because that's the shift that happens. You only have two choices, and those are love or fear. And you're choosing love when you start to choose yourself and choose the highest portion of who you could become, remembering your connection to source, to God, to all that is. That's what we have given you, because the more of you who remember that, you wouldn't be fighting with others, you wouldn't be killing other people, and you would prosper. That's what happens. But you must understand that you've had these paths, these evolutionary paths that have been riddled with all kinds of other things that you wanted to move over. We've just given you the tools to be able to do it. And what we've also done, we had our messenger do many presentations to show you, because we wanted you to understand, even as the message that you see on the screen that we use today, is the same thing. He's known this. He's been studying this for decades. And so now that's why it's so valuable. And so the reason this is different is we allowed him to connect to cosmic consciousness, which is why we could give each of you a message on your birthday in 2012, which seems to be really ridiculous and you can't understand how that could happen. But that's the problem. You don't understand that your consciousness is so powerful and you could develop it in ways that you can't imagine. We're just giving you another tool in this incarnation of your earth plane that more of you who use it, you'll have this really great life and you'll have this great world. Now, we know that not everyone's going to do that, and we want you to understand that as well, because you're going to encounter things during this period where you're going to want everyone to change and become exactly like you, and that's never going to happen. We wanted you to become yourself. See, because that's the most valuable thing, and that's how you love yourself. And someone asked earlier, what is self-acceptance? What is that about? Self-acceptance means that you understand how valuable you are, that you understand that no matter what you've moved through in your life, that it has value and purpose for you when you interpret it in a new way. We have you interpret everything differently so that you correct and heal your past. Now, this is talking about your evolutionary path of your world and this planetary ascension. That's what you're all moving through. And it's a global thing. And as we said, globally, you're choosing the kind of world you want to have, but you will choose that through your lives. And that is each of you individually and then collectively. But we wanted to say we've given you everything, but now you've heard it. And so you'll have to understand, you'll have to ask yourself a question. Am I going to move to the next higher version of who I want to be and who I want to experience in my life, or am I going to stay where I am? See, because what we said before, many of you become stuck because you become familiar with the old, and that seems like it's safe for you, and that's never what it is. None of you want to stay where you were, and you can't go back to who you were before and become happy. You keep trying to do that, but it doesn't work. This is why we wanted you to move to a new place. We're saying you individually and your world. There will be those in your world who want to go back to some other time that they thought was great and it never was, because you're always in the process of evolving. And there'll be more of you who will be trying to move to that higher state. And those are the ones that we would love for you to shine a bit more, which is what we're encouraging our messenger to do now, because he has all the information. And he's going to have to do that because he's going to be presenting in a different way. We just like for him to get ready, as we like for more of you to do, because as you do that, you will have this wonderful, glorious life and you will start to become happy. No matter what you have experienced in your life, we're telling you that we've given you something that could make it great. We can't force you to believe, but we can give you the work, is what we're saying, because we've proven it and we've shown it. And that's why we have given you all of these messages and why we have done everything. And as you start to delve into it, you're going to feel so differently about yourself. And then you start to put a entirely new kind of energy into your world. Now, we also did something else. We want you to understand there are evolutionary passages that happen on your planet all the time. You just are not aware of them. We made our messenger aware of them, and it came through his life. You each have these because you're connected to everything that has come before in your individual ways. So the other night, we stopped him and we had him watch a documentary series on 1968, the year that changed America, because we're saying that the United States is in that role again now, and it was happening then. But you made different choices then, but you have a new opportunity. See, because then you were still trying to change things in a different way. You were trying to bring your world to a higher state of understanding, but you just fought so much about that because you didn't want to let go. Now you're back at the same place today, as a matter of fact, where you can make a new choice, and that's why we're doing this. None of this is accidental. The timing was perfect. And this is what we've given you all of these messages, and any of you who would go back and read them, you would understand. And this is also not new, which is why we have the 2020 message on that. Many of you believed that what was happening when we're having an earthquake here, but we'll get through it. So, what was happening during 2020, many of you thought it was just about your pandemic. We said, no, it was more than that. It was about you moving to a higher state of understanding. And so that's why you couldn't accept that messages or all of them that we gave you during that time. But we are going to answer more of your questions now, and we're going to tie all of this together to give you even greater awareness.
All right. So the Q&A is on. As a matter of fact, it has been on. So if you have any additional questions, just click on the Q&A button and I will ask it on your behalf, and you can ask as many questions as you want. Give us all of your questions here, but we're going to start with the questions that were sent in with the donations. And the first one, today during my meditation, I felt my body swaying in circles, and I felt something rotating inside of me. I wasn't, uh, I wasn't aware of the sensation, or I wasn't worried about the sensation. I was more scared though. But all I could utter was, "I surrender." What was that? Please elaborate.
That was you surrendering. That was your higher self telling you, please, yes, we're moving you. And this is why we just had these little earthquake. We even had our being feel that now. And there have been several of them because your planet is changing and all the energies are changing. And many of you will feel them in your bodies in different way. And we're so grateful that you didn't become worried or afraid because you weren't supposed to. You were just supposed to awaken. And surrender means that you finally let go of your ego defenses that have prevented you from experiencing the brilliance that is within you. And we're saying that to all of you. And you may feel some of these things happening physically in different ways, but they may come up, and that's great. And we're so pleased with you because you didn't become afraid because you knew it was some other indication, some other connection, some other message. And we're pleased. And if you keep going with it, you won't be afraid of anything. Thank you.
So Wilhelm has touched on this a little bit, um, a little bit today, but perhaps Wilhelm can go deeper on this. So here's the question: What do you mean about what do you mean by self-acceptance? Are
Mm.
you saying we need to accept all of our emotions and feelings and experiences?
Mm. Yes. Thank you for that one. And that's the thing that many of you don't do. And this is why you don't change and your world doesn't change because you've been connected to your eternal spiritual beings. You've had lifetimes that you don't remember, but in all of them, you did things you weren't happy with, that you didn't understand. And that were of a lower vibrational nature, let's say. But if you move through them now, then you start to heal that past. And so this is what's going on. So it's a continual thing. You're never done with that because you live. You're a spiritual being forever. You just have a spiritual life experience for a finite period of time. And so the more that you can do during this time to let go of that old stuff, yeah, then you're having a great life. And accepting it means that noticing those things you didn't like about yourself, the mistakes that you made, the stuff that you thought you screwed up, whatever you called it, all of that was purposeful because it was part of what you accepted to move through. And as you move through them, then you come out brilliant. And this is why our messenger moved through absolutely everything, which is why he can give this to you. But you're all meant to do that. That's because you have this worth and beauty within you. You just have to get through all the other stuff that you thought that kept you small, that kept you less than what you could have been. You're always in a continual state of evolving. Thank you.
Hi, Wilhelm. Thank you. I have two quick questions, if that's okay. And yes, that is okay. I am considering dropping out of a dolphin healing energy certification that I invested a good amount of money in.
Mhm,
The first reason is that I feel the energy with the teacher isn't quite the same.
mhm.
Another reason is that if I get certified by someone else, I'm worried I might lose the quality or energy of what I really do. I'm planning to launch a healing practice soon with my friend. My other question uh, is about a community chat that I need to leave it's a community cat I need to leave at my work. I hope he'll be okay and happy. Thank you so much, Wilhelm.
Yes, the cat will be happy. The cat will be happy. You can't. He has a soul. They have a soul journey, and they're on that. And so yes, and thank you for that because you made a choice that was challenging for you because you were worried about that. This tells us the empathy that you carry within you, and we're so pleased that you're noticing that. But just know that the cat's soul will be okay. They're so aware of everything. So, but your acknowledgement of that is brilliant. Now you can't lose anything. First of all, you don't lose anything. And if you're thinking about material things in terms of money, you can't lose that. It's your soul that is important. And if you're feeling energetically that this is not the right place and you can do something else, you have the resources and ability to be able to do that. And we would love for you to do it because we don't want any of you to settle for anything and to compromise yourselves. And that because you've learned that. Our being has learned that most of his life. And we've written about that too. where he saw examples of not having what he should have because he thought he was taught maybe he shouldn't have as much as everyone else. All of you have done that in a certain way. And so then you keep subjugating yourself to others, and that's not what we want during this period. This period is about expanding, about evolving. And so you have to follow your heart, which is the song we had our messenger write in 1987, which was called Follow Your Heart. And if any of you were to listen to it, you would understand what we mean. And that's still the case today. Okay, thank you.
How do we use our knowledge and wisdom and share our gifts when we feel others don't understand us?
You have to be aware of how much they will understand. We give you information all the time and we understand, and our being, he gets so frustrated, we have to calm him down because he wants all of you to understand right away, and he knows that's not going to happen. But he keeps doing it and keeps trying. This is what has put himself in a pickle because he tries to help everyone else. We put that on the message too. You can read all of that. But now it's a time of helping yourself. And so you help yourself by being the example, and then those around you who are going to come around, who are going to awaken in whatever way you want them to, because that's what we're feeling, you're desiring, but they will do that through your example. So we just want you to keep doing what you're doing and stop worrying about them and let them get as much as they can from your example, because when you start living your example, that's when you're going to live your best life and you're going to be so happy and wonderful.
I listen to motivational hip hop while I exercise. In one motivational piece, the artist says, people who chase money have no purpose. Money chases people who are living their purpose. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, that's true, but we don't want to put the negative connotation in there. That is actually true. And this is what we're talking about now. When you start to own yourself, then the money, and then it's a natural form of it, that comes to you. It's everything is energy. When you block yourself from your real natural purpose, then the natural flow of that abundance does not come to you. Our being has taken years, and we want you all to look at the message we put up on February 19th. And if you read that one, you will see that in 1989, he was struggling with this because he understood that he had this information, he had this power, he had this ability, but he didn't want his ego to get in the way. And so he's gone through this entire period like letting go of money because he didn't want that to be the reason that he was doing this. He wanted to bring in something that was pure, that was going to uplift your world. And that's what he did. So it wasn't about the money itself. It was about the energy of it. What are you using it for? Because the money, as we've said, you don't take it with you. This is on this physical 3D world, that you just use it to manifest everything here so you can function. And so we want you to have a lot of it, but we want it to come to you when it's aligned with your authentic self, because then you're going to love it. You're going to do something great with it. You're going to do something that's going to be for the collective, for the good of all, when you come from that standpoint. And that's what we want you to do. So we do appreciate that comment. However, we just didn't like the first part of it where, money, we don't want to judge people. We want you to let go of your judgment and find the love within you that corrects everything. Thank you.
And yes, please keep bringing your questions in. Like I said, you can ask as many questions as you'd like today. Hello, Wilhelm. I have a passion for working with young girls and bringing women and girls together. Would the program Roger has to share be a good way to show grandparents how to help our children? How would the program need to be adapted for children?
It doesn't have to be. We love that. We want you to adapt it yourself and to create the one. What we do is give you the information. And as we said, you're moving through this evolutionary period. And we're so glad you're talking about the women, the girls, because that is the area that we've spoken of often. And we started that a long time ago. So because this shift is about bringing in a new energy, a shift in your consciousness overall. And that is about the feminine energy, which you all carry. We wanted you all to become balanced because the what's happening in your world, you become off balance, which is why we've spoken of the women so often, and you see movements happening with them now because they're becoming more alive, more awake. That's what we've always wanted. Because it's not because of them specifically, but it's about the feminine energy. And that's what we want you to embrace. Women naturally have more of it, but this time we want more of the men to embody that as well. That's what will create the balance within each of you, but then also in your world. And so, yes, we want you to understand that you will create something because we can feel this. This is your thing. We're just giving you the understanding in the program of how powerful you are and the steps that you can then move through to integrate the understanding that you have, because you've been given a great gift. You've been given a purpose and you've just spoke it. You just haven't owned it yet because we want you to create it. We just give you the empowerment and the belief and the courage to do that. But you're on the right track because we're so grateful that you're going to do this, because as you do, you will see you're going to make. Ah, we just want you to feel this, because you've been seeing it, but you've just not moved it in a way. And so yes, if you do our work, you'll see that you will start to have this courage. You'll have clarity. That's the thing that we really want, because you've been given something to bring into this world at this time that is so valuable. And yes, we want you to do that. So thank you.
Why do humans fight each other?
Thank you. We love that so much. And that has been the entire purpose of our work, and what we wanted you to all understand as you're watching your world, because you don't have to. Our being has this memory, and if you've watched his Akashic records, um, reading that we finally had him put up on his YouTube channel, you will hear he resisted all of this. He knew that he had this ancient memory, and he goes back to the times where you guys didn't do that, which is why he gets so upset when he sees you fighting each other and killing one another, because it's not necessary. It's just that you're carrying around old patterns of behavior and beliefs that you can get rid of. This is why you're having a war in Gaza and Israel right now, because it's been going on forever, because no one wants to let go of the old stuff. You see, we've given you something that can allow you to do that. But because you've asked that question, you're so aware of it, and you had but the answer is within you, and we're going to have you develop it, because we know that you have this awareness that your world could use right now, especially during this last part of this change, because like we said, throughout this year. And so we're pleased that you have that awareness, because this is exactly what we wanted all of you to move over. We told you in some of our other talks, we said you're going to see the others. And what we mean by that, you're going to see people who are on a different evolutionary path than you, and a different level of consciousness. And so they're going to still keep wanting to have fights. They're going to still want to have judgment and use all kinds of disparaging ideas and remarks and all of that. That's not the energy that you want. That's not the energy. You must understand, and we've talked about many of this. We had him do a presentation on this because we wanted you to understand how things change. And those things change when each of you move to a higher state. It's a vibration again, higher state of consciousness and awareness. And then you start to see shifts happening in your lives and also in your world. That's what we wanted for all of you. And so that's why, okay, but those who have not done that, who have not done it, you're going to see them. But also, when you see that, and see those people doing that, just understand they're in a different place, but that's also awakening you to that higher state of knowledge and wisdom that you have. And that's just is of love. And you'll bring in that love within yourself, because you'll feel it in your body first, which will be a wonderful thing. And then you'll give it to others, and they'll start understanding. And eventually, in many, many years, you'll all start fighting each other and stop having wars. We've given you many messages on that too, because they're never necessary and no one ever wins. We just can't understand why humans keep acting like they're in the schoolyard still. And you're going to go out and do these fights where you're going to kill one another and somebody's going to win. No one ever wins, because you're all the same. Thank you.
I am caretaking the land and the house. It hasn't been easy, but I'm really thankful for the connections with this land, the family, spirit of nature, and the ancestors. However, I'm having trouble cleaning, especially my space. This is the hardest part for me. Could you please give me some advice? Thank you.
I'm sorry, clearing what?
No, I'm having trouble cleaning. especially my space.
Oh, because you've taken on a big role. We need you to do it, though. This is good. Okay. Now, you're in that space because you were placed there and your ancestors wanted you to do that and you wanted you to move through it, but you're feeling this heavy energy that has been left by all of that. And so yes, it's going to be a little tedious right now, but do it a bit at a time. None of you are going to move through anything quickly or easily. So just look at it in an entirely new way and take it a bit at a time. We want you to do that with your lives too. Is just take everything a bit at a time and then you'll get through it. But you're feeling that because you know that you're there for a reason. And this is, as we said, this is a generational shift that your world is moving through. So you're doing your part now because you've gotten there and you understand this, and that's what we're pleased with. So yes, you're give yourself a break, first of all. There's two things happening. Okay. You're feeling the overwhelming nature of getting this done. And we appreciate that, but it is something that you've accepted. And even though, and we said that in the message that we had you read earlier, that you've each accepted something and it might feel daunting to you now, but if you do it a bit at a time, it'll be easier. But we just want you to know that you're doing an honorable thing. Just shift that instead of it being this drudgery, shift it to, oh, I'm clearing out all of these old energies that have existed forever. And as I do this, I'm going to have my space clear and I'm going to feel better and I'm going to help my ancestors and everyone will be in a much better place. And that is absolutely accurate. We just want you to believe it. Thank you.
How how is it that I know my purpose in my soul
Mhm,
and I know what I want to do
mhm,
and I'm trying so hard to live it, and yet it's difficult to find the motivation to get the money needed to really execute it in the way that I envision it.
mhm.
I'm trying to let go of my perfectionism of needing it to be in a specific way, but no matter how I swing it, it requires money, and I want to be making money living my purpose, not making money doing things I don't want to do just to get the money to live my purpose.
We feel that we've given you so much of this too. We gave you a message a while ago said the money confused you. You don't need the money, first of all. Money is, like we said, it's energy. There are other ways for you to figure this out, and you've been given something that you need to figure it out in a different way. You need to, and the money will come, as you said, because you know this and you felt that. And so the money will come when you start honoring that purpose. And the purpose is about how do I do this without having the money? You've had many examples of people who have done this and they found ways of getting down there and figuring things out and doing it, and then the money came, and that's what you've been given now. Because you have a little bit of resistance though, and so several things. We want you to stop trying. We want you to start allowing. We want you to shift your perception and know that it's going to come to you when you do embrace it, and it'll come in ways that you have not expected, in different ways. You just allow that to happen. You stop with the resistance of it. But because we're also feeling that you know this thing is there, but you don't believe fully that you're the person to do it. It seems a little bit too big for you. It seems a little over your head, and that's not true. But we want you to take time and integrate that. See, because that's what happens for each of you. You will move through some idea in your thinking. It's not manifesting in your lives, in your world. And so you have to allow it to be incorporated, and then it starts to come about. And so we need you to let go of the restrictions because there are other ways of this money coming about. We don't know if it's going to be with partnership or something else, but there's something else that you can do to get this done that's not going to require all the money that you've set up, because we're saying this because it feels like you've made this a big excuse that is sitting in front of you. But if you get rid of the excuse and say, wait a minute, I know there's another way, I'm going to allow it to come to me and I'm going to do it. And don't worry, because we feel that you didn't have the confidence yet, but it's going to grow. And this, what we're saying to you, is going to help that happen. And so we're so pleased. Be patient with yourself. Thank you.
I just I just got allowed to do workshops such as Reiki and breath work in a hotel that I'm working at. I also met someone who has been a partner in another life.
Mm.
I met her in my workplace, giving her treatments. Real magic happens constantly in life. I feel how sensibility is heightened these days. Can you talk about how love can transcend a place into possibility and freedom? The
Because
hotel, uh,
Mhm.
almost done. The hotel didn't used to offer those things, and as we know, there are people who aren't going to want this. For
Mm.
me, it seems that the timelines are opening up for the frequency that we hold. How is it individually and collectively?
But you said all of it. See, first of all, we want you to think about the energy, and then it's not your problem, it's not your business who's going to accept it. You just know that that energy of love is what is needed, and so you have to just do it. And those who are going to be attracted to it will do that. And so we just want you to trust it a lot more and just keep going with that. As we've said, everything in your universe is about energy and their qualities of that energy, and you're all going to be using it in different ways. The energy of love is the highest vibration higher that you could ever have with anything. There's no restrictions, there's no judgment, there's no any of that. And so if you bring that into your workspace and with this partner, then you're all going to experience that. And then those who are meant to receive it will. And we're saying this because you all must understand there are going to be those on your planet who are not going to actually understand or accept this. That's not your job. Your job is to accept it for yourself so you can be the example, so you can be the experience that you want them to have. And so but you have this awareness. We just want you to trust it a little more. And then there's another thing that you all do. Our messenger has done it too, because he starts to feel this embarrassment almost, or shame, or whatever, if he's going to own himself and the information that's coming. And so we would love for more of you to move beyond that one, because you're coming from this pure heart, and that's what is needed in your world now, and it's coming through you, and you have that awareness. We just want you to trust it a lot more. Thank you.
And yes, we still have time for more questions if you've got them. And they can be about anything at any time. Okay, next one. How do we let go of our excuses when they feel so real to us?
We want you to reinterpret them in a new way. And we've given you a way to do that. We said, love your excuses. Love your excuses. And the reason we gave you that, and we said it in that way, because you look at them and then you run from them because they seem too much. No, we want you to look at them, because then when you look at them, you'll ask, why am I using an excuse? Especially if it's something that you really want to do. And that would be only that you have not broken through this barrier, this brain barrier, let's call it, of that you can do it, that you can be the one to accomplish this. That's all. And so we don't want you to run from your excuses. We want you to look at them, and we want you to question them, because any excuse that you have given yourself means that you've just chosen to hold yourself back. That's all. And so, but we don't want you to use judgment. We just want you to use recognition and acknowledgement, because then when you can look at it and say, I'm doing this and I'm holding myself back, what is it? And we'll tell you all the time, it's always fear. So we just want you to accept that. And so once you understand that it's just the fear, you will find ways of moving beyond the excuse that you encounter, the one that you can see, that you allow yourself to see. And then you're just going to move to that next place. But just take time and do it, because it's a process. You need consistency. This is why we have you do everything in a consistent way, because over time, we're using your human brains, that you start to change that, and then you accept more and more and more, and you become these grand beings, which is what we wanted for all of you. But just don't judge yourself, please, about the excuses. We know you've seen them, because you just have something in front of you. You think you're not capable. That's why we gave you that message today. And if you look at it again, that we gave you in 2020, you thought you couldn't fulfill your purpose. That's what we said. You can. And we're just telling you now that that is what will come about. Thank you.
How can we love someone who hurt us?
Well, okay, no one hurt you. We're sorry. We know that feels just, oh, wait a minute. No, I can't accept that one. No one hurt you. You do that. No one is doing anything to you. No one hurt you. You brought them into your life so you could see the part of yourself that you weren't loving. And they were the example. They were the catalyst to allow you to see it. So now what we would rather you do is thank them. Thank them for allowing you to see that you didn't love yourself enough to have the correct relationship that would give you everything that you wanted. And now you can start to move to that place. So don't make them the reason for you not being loved. You are the reason for you not being loved. And so now you can thank him. You can look at him in a new way. This is why we have you reinterpret every experience that you've had in your life to come to the empowerment of the experience, because that's what they all are. You just figure them out and you see them later. But we don't want you to put your happiness in their hands. It's in your hands. but we want you to appreciate yourself because you allowed them to show up. When we talked about the law of attraction, we want you to understand that, and that's in the message that we gave you for this date because we wanted to talk about it. Law of attraction does not mean that you sit around and just have these great things show up in your life, because you have all this other stuff in your background, in your past, in your evolutionary journey that did not serve you. So you will attract those relationships, those circumstances, whatever, into your life now so that you can move over them. And this person who you thought hurt you was one of those people. So it was a gift for you, because now you get to move into a new way of this process of just every day loving who you are and knowing that you matter. That's what we want for all of you. Thank you.
I'm very happy right now because even though my car is in the shop for repairs, I've been renting different cars like a Lincoln, a brand new SUV, a Mini Cooper convertible. They are not sponsored by, they're not sponsoring us, by the way. Maybe they should. I'm enjoying the nice rides, and I feel like I'm practicing treating myself well. Could
Yes,
you give me any insights on this, please? And thank you so much for all of your guidance.
that was exactly it. We're so thrilled that you gave us all that example, you see, because we would have you go out and do things like that anyway. Because see, what happens is then you start to you start to envision the possibilities. I can make different choices. I could choose this one. I could choose that one. And that is what you each start to do when you move to a higher state of understanding, where you move into this fifth dimensional thinking, which we so perfect for today in this full moon in Aquarius, because then you can start choosing things and just asking for them. And you were being given an example of that. And so that's why that was going on. But we also want to say, you knew on a deep level, you knew this. And so now we're pointing it out to you because we want you to just acknowledge your incredible intuition and your incredible ability to interpret events and circumstances and things that occur in your life. Not many do that. And this is why our messengers had so much trouble in his life, because he interprets everything. But you're doing that. And so we're so pleased because the universe, your higher self, your guides will always send you different examples that many of you miss, but they're always there. And you paid attention to it. So now you've given everyone else a wonderful example. And so the universe thanks you for doing that. Thank you.
How can we stoke the fires of motivation? I suffer from chronic depression that can keep me in bed for a long time. But when I do get up and I'm in the processes of doing the things that bring me into flow, I feel so alive that I can do them forever.
Mhm.
How can I harness that motivation to help me get out of bed when I feel stuck?
First of all, we need you to stop judging yourself for being stuck, because you're only stuck because you're still attempting to accept your purpose, and that's what you're coming to, and that's why you have the motivate. That's why you have the depression. We had our messenger do a video. Many of you can find it. I think we believe he called it "How I Cured My Depression." It's out there. We've talked about it because he had it as well. And you only have these depressions and these different things because you haven't accepted your authentic self, and you haven't gotten there yet. And so this is why you could stay in bed and not get up or not do anything. You don't have the motivation. So we don't want you to keep the spiral going, though, because then what happens is when you're in the bed and you're just lying there and you're not doing anything, you're judging yourself at the same time. And so we want you to acknowledge that. You're going to notice it, and when you see it, you're going to say, okay, I'm going to let go of that. I'm just going to love myself now. And I'm just going to get up and do this one little thing now. And then you just keep doing that. Then you'll do the next one. You do the next one. But we have to get you to move beyond the judgment first. Because the judgment means that you just haven't found that place or believed in your particular path, but you're on the way. And that's why you're feeling the resistance. And as you do we're breaking the barrier. As you do the breaking the barrier, this is in your thinking, in your consciousness, you'll start to do a bit more each day. And then you'll start to feel this motivation all of a sudden. And then you'll keep doing it. And that's what we want. So this is the process that we're giving you. And so but first, not to judge yourself. And then we give you something we call baby steps. So each day when you find yourself, okay, now I have a little more strength to do something fun, do something that you enjoy, that you know is leading you to that greater understanding or acceptance. But it's a process of letting go of the judgment. We're saying this to all of you because you each will find things in your past, in your evolutionary journey, that you're going to judge about yourself. And that's the thing that holds you back all the time. If you continue it, because you have all of those things, none of you are aware of the complete evolutionary paths you have, but there are going to always be things in there that would cause you to judge yourselves in some way. And you'll think something's wrong with you, and there's never anything wrong. And so we just had our messenger share a video, and you can all find it because this was 2 years ago. We just had him do it yesterday. There's alignment in the universe. And we had him say, I can't see anything wrong with you. You see, because that's the awareness that you will come to eventually when you stop seeing things that are wrong with you and just get on with doing something new. So, yeah, we love this so much because we've just moved you into a little different place right now. And so tomorrow it's going to be a little different for you. And we just want you to nurture that ongoing. Thank you.
I'm starting to learn the difference between taking blame and taking responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
Can you share more about the difference between them? I would love your perspective.
Yes, they're so sometimes they're really intertwined, and so this is why you're having confusion. And so we're glad that you brought it up because see, the responsibility is that you knowing that you have to do something in your life that you know would lead you to that better place. This is better life, and that's the responsibility. The blame can get you in trouble in different ways because um, the blame will be that you're giving it to someone else. And we want you to understand you have things within you that you didn't know. And so this is why, when you try to pass it on somewhere else, you're not getting to the root cause of it. So that's why taking responsibility is far more helpful. You're going to acknowledge, okay, yeah, I didn't know what I was doing here. I didn't know why I had this. There was something that came from, maybe it's my ancestors who gave it to me. Maybe that's where it came from. And so that's why I'm having this difficulty. But I'm not going to blame others. I'm going to ask myself a new question. And that new question is, what can I do now? What can I change now within myself? That's all. But just we're saying it in this way because we want you, because we can feel that you've had this judgment about feeling this way, but you are so aware, and we are giving you the distinction we want you to have because the responsibility is total acceptance of you and whatever is there. When you start using the blame, you might pass it on to others. You might feel that you want to do that because you just feel, held down in some way. But we want you to understand that's probably not your fault. It might be something you just inherited, you accepted, you believed, and it was programmed into you. So just take the next step in the other direction, and then you will be taking the responsibility that you want. Thank you.
Okay, and I think this is going to be the final question here. And this question is, why is love the highest frequency? Because it is.
Because it holds no judgment. And this is the thing that we wanted you all to come to. We don't want you to judge yourselves. We don't want you to judge others. We gave a message. You'll find it in the we did two things, and we want you, and we're so glad you brought this up. We wanted you to understand the process, the alignment of your universe. On the 12th and 13th, we had our messenger put up two more messages where we gave you messages over time, and you will find in there your answer. If you go back to our anyadvicefortoday.com and read them, you'll see them all there. And so we want you to understand it's a process that you use in your linear time to come to that greater understanding, and that's what you are doing now. And so as you do that, you start to experience more love because you're letting go of all the old stuff. And if you read those two messages, we can give you many others because we've done that often, where we have our messenger sit down and just write messages over years because then he starts to understand them more. You all do that. Now, what we're saying there, we want you to understand all of you to understand when you read those, you have a level of awareness, of consciousness that exists within you, but it also exists within the collective. We have been in touch with that, and so we've given you information that was aligned with your collective consciousness over a period of time, which is why we could give you those messages in those dates in that way. And so, but you're doing the same thing in your life. So just keep moving to that place, and that will be the love. And then you'll start to be able to explain to others, which we love so much. You'll be able to explain to others why love is the most powerful thing that there is as you keep moving through that process. Thank you.
And we are complete with questions.
Thank you. We're going to end with this because we want you all to understand. We're going to have you all move today because this is the most powerful full moon that you're going to have in this lifetime. And this is why we're having our messenger move and finally put out what he has because we want you all to do the same thing. And that is accepting the gifts that you have within you that are being developed now and the energy that you will put into your life and into your world that's going to cause the greatest shift on your planet has ever accomplished. And you're going to feel so grateful because you will know that you were a part of it. You will know that you were a part of creating this brand new world that's loving. And the way you had to do it was to come to love yourself. Now, what could be better than that? And this is what we have given you. And we love you all so much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So, love. Love is the highest frequency, and yeah, let's just share the love with the people we love and share what you love with the people you love, right? And I think this is motivation enough to share what you love with the people you love, right? Stay tuned. Private channeling with Roger is possible. So think about it, get some clarity around whatever. I asked some questions too today. It's very great to reflect on Wilhelm. So yeah, let's stay tuned. See you soon.